Hey, everybody, this is Captain Yeet here for you for the Young Justice Outsiders Season 3 episode review. This is going to be Young Justice Outsiders Season 3 episode 16 titled Illusion of Control, so let's get into it. The very beginning of the episode starts off with Impulse helping Ed set up this really big harvest festival. This really big festival to help all the meta teens there to just have some fun while they're there, not to be all doom and gloom, helping control your powers and everything. Then we go over to Happy Harbor. Megan is setting up for Thanksgiving with Superboy helping her and Forager. You have Victor outside in the RV looking really sad. It's also snowing in November, which is crazy. Probably some places do snow in November. Mainly just snows in December slash January where I live, and it's like rare. It's like super duper rare if it ever snows. But mainly it's supposed to be December slash January. But I guess it could snow on Thanksgiving if it is cold enough. But he's in the RV looking really sad and it's snowing. Then we go over to Artemis's house. Artemis and Ray Arrow is making food. Also, Halo's helping. Brion and Tara come in to help too. Dr. Chase is in a not a library. Dr. Chase is in a laboratory. And also, while Artemis and Red Arrow are cooking Thanksgiving dinner, they're kind of glancing at each other, kind of checking each other out. And Artemis' mom notices this. Now she's reading a book with Leon, but she still kind of looks over to the side and notices them looking at each other like, "Huh, what's going on?" Like, okay, you guys like each other, huh? You guys like each other. Me personally, I don't really like that. I mean, I know, Captain Yi. The only reason why I don't like it is, we get into the whole Red Arrow and Artemis thing in a few more episodes. I don't know if it's this season or next season. I know there's one big episode with Zatara and everything, but we get into that like a few times later on this series. I don't really like it because of Wally, because it just feels weird. Because see with Wally now, I understand it's been 2 years since he died, so he's allowed to move on. But even in real life, it just seems really iffy to me. I don't know if you guys feel that way too, but it's just always me. It's like someone if your lover dies, it's like I don't know. I mean, I understand you're supposed to move on. You can do that, but getting someone else, it just feels weird to me. But let's get into the actual episode. So after that, we go over to the Harvest Festival, and a few hours before it actually opens, Static Shock, Jinx. Well, her real name isn't Jinx, I think. In this show, her real name is Tracy. That's her real name in the comics. I don't know that or not, but we go over to Static Shock, Tracy, Blue Beetle, Impulse, and Ed, and they're waiting for Beast Boy and Perdita to come in here because they're gonna enjoy the Harvest Festival for a few hours just by themselves. So there's not like paparazzi, cameras on them, and everything. Because wherever Beast Boy goes, they're gonna be there since he's the star of a TV show, and even double that for Perdita because she's the queen of a whole country. So it's gonna be like that. While they're waiting for them to come in a helicopter, it was really funny because Impulse says their ship name. He goes, "Uh oh, here comes Gurgita." Or not Gogeta, I said Gogeta, but Gargita, Gargita, not Gogeta. This isn't Dragon Ball, but that was really cute. He said their ship name. Anyway, Tracy didn't know they were coming, and she just starts geeking out because he's a really big fan of Garfield because he's on his own TV show, and a really big fan of Perdita because, well, she's a queen of a whole nation. And it's also revealed here that Blue Beetle and Tracy slash Jinx are dating. So obviously they introduce themselves. Everybody kind of already knows them besides from Tracy. So they're like, "Hey, how you doing? It's really good to see you guys." They walk into the Harvest Festival. It's also really funny that she always has that security guard behind her. I understand that she's the queen of a nation, so she has to have security with her. But I mean, she's around like all these soups. I mean, that kind of didn't really matter based on what happens later on in the episode. I mean, actually, it does matter because they're able to save her. But still, you get what I'm saying? She's around all these superheroes, but he has this one random security guard. When they're walking into the festival, Static feels like a seventh wheel. He didn't know there was going to be all these couples together. I mean, Ed and Impulse don't really have anybody. I mean, I guess Ed is kind of in the talking phase with Windfall, but still, they don't have anybody either. But he does feel like a seventh wheel. He goes, "So where's Cassie with Wonder Girl?" I'm pretty sure he's mentioning. And Tracy goes, "Oh, she's in Gotham trying to patch things up with Tim." He goes, I really need a girlfriend." So then we go over to Thanksgiving dinner at Artemis's house, and when we get there, we see that Artemis's mom and Leon are singing like a little kid song for everybody to listen to. While they're listening into that, we go over to Halo talking to Artemis, and she seems a little nervous that Tara and Brianna are here. Not saying they can't be here, but she just accessed that memory of what was her name, Gabrielle, technically helping kill their parents. So she's a little on eggs being around them. They weren't supposed to be here, but Brienne really wants to be around Halo because this is Thanksgiving, and he's really thankful for to be around Tara and Halo. So why not be around them? It's a happy holiday. He doesn't know about the whole you helped kill my parents thing. So he's like all hunky dory around them. But Halo's still feeling a little on edge about the whole situation because you get a memory that just flood into your head of you helping kill your lover's parents. You're gonna be a little what's the word, antsy. After that, we go back over to the Harvest Festival. Everybody's playing bumper cars, and Static, he really feels like he needs a girlfriend because he's in a bumper car all by himself. There was this one little funny moment to where Impulse, he's really upset that the bumper cars go super slow. He goes, "How is this supposed to be any fun?" But Ed tells him, "Hey, I'll show you how to have some fun in the bumper cars," and he just have to bump, everybody. It's just basically that. Then we go over to Forager. He goes inside the RV with Vic and he tries to, well, not try to cheer him up. He didn't know he was sad, but he tells him that Earth has all the best holidays because on Halloween, you get candy. On Thanksgiving, you get to have all this food and be with the people slash your hive that you love. Are all the holidays on Earth really this crust? And Victor gets really mad and tells him he should ask somebody else, and he storms out. And he can obviously, not he, well, yeah, he is a dude, but I was gonna say Forager. Forager can obviously tell that something is really wrong with Victor, and he even tells Bioship that he goes, Victor seems very crushed right now, so maybe Forager go outside and uncrust Victor Stone. Yes, that is what I'm gonna do. So he goes outside to go help him out. And then we go back over to the Harvest Festival, and we see Ed looking at Windfall, looking really sad because she still has her inhibitor collar on from last episode when she almost killed Mist, Ed, and what's her a live wire? I'm trying to think of her name. So Ed looking at her, looking really sad. Perdita notices this and asks Ed, "Hey, what's the matter?" He goes, "Oh, it's nothing, Your Majesty." She goes, "No, no, no. We don't do that. There's a rule between me and Gar. Whenever we're together, there's no Your Highness, no Your Majesty. I'm just me. We are friends, aren't we, mi amigo?" He goes, "Yes." "Okay, I'm gonna ask you again. What is the matter?" And he starts to go into exactly what happened last episode. He's been trying to help her out, but something bad happened to where she feels like she needs her inhibitor collar, and it kind of breaks his heart that she's wearing that because she didn't want to wear that, and he even said himself that even if he did turn meta for the first time in today's time, if he had like a youth center, he didn't really think he needed an inhibitor collar. Like it's kind of pushing you down, crushing your spirit. So she sees this and she walks over to Windfall and starts to cheer her up. We see them laughing and talking in the background. And then Beast Boy walks up to Ed. Ed goes, "You know what? That girl you got, she's something." He goes, "Yeah, I know. Thank you." That was sweet. That was a really sweet scene. She didn't need to do that, but Perdita, she's 10 toes, man. She's a nice girl to have, man. You should all get a Perdita of your guy out there. Get yourself a Perdita. She's really sweet. And this was the episode that, because I remember I mentioned this like near the beginning of the season, I think, that I didn't realize that Beast Boy was dating Perdita until like a later episode. But this was the episode I realized that it was Perdita because there's something that happens in like a scene or two, and I'm like, "Oh, that's Perdita." Now they did say her name multiple times before this episode, but I kind of just flew out of my head, like the name Perdita. I wasn't even thinking about it, so I was just thinking, "Oh, Perdita, okay, that's her name." But this episode when I figured out who she was, I was like, "What? I'm so dumb. This is Perdita." And this is also the episode I realized that Tracy was Jinx, basically Jinx from Teen Titans. I'm like, "Oh, this is Jinx." What? Like there was so many reviews in this episode. I thought it was so funny. Anyway, Impulse runs over saying he gets some cotton candy for everybody, but he comes back with nothing. He says, "What? I gotta eat a lot of calories. It's a long way from the cotton candy stand from way over here. It's kind of like 2 to 4 feet. I don't know why he's trying to lie like it's super far away. We just get more cotton candy, but still, like, you just did not need to do that." Anyway, while they're talking, Beast Boy starts to talk about how he kind of wants to be more out there with his meta powers and ability. Not trying to, steal the limelight or anything, but he does say that it kind of sucks that. What's the way wording? Fuck, I'm not going to be able to say what he said word for word, but basically, we need to find some sort of way instead of being a covert team that just goes on covert missions. We need to find a way to inspire new meta teams to not be ashamed of their powers and to be more out there. You can do good stuff even when you get these meta powers kind of forced onto you. We need to have some sort of symbol or team out there for that. And then Static and Ed are like, huh, that's not a bad idea. We kind of wish we had something like that when we first went meta. That's a really good idea for a Beast Boy. Obviously, it's kind of yeah, not well. I was gonna say bad. It's not a bad idea, but it's kind of hard to do because the team that they're on is supposed to do covert missions. They're not supposed to be out there doing the stuff that Beast Boy's talking about. Beast Boy thought that he'll do more stuff like that when he came back onto the team, but no, not really. And the only reason why they're doing that is because, well, I mean, technically, yeah, when the team first started, that was the whole thing doing covert missions. I mean that yeah, actually, no, no, yeah, they were doing covert missions specifically, but at the same time, it wasn't like if they got caught, unless they were in like a foreign land, unless they were in a foreign land, if they got caught doing superhero work, it wouldn't be really a bad thing. It's just that now that we have the Lex Luthor, constraining the Justice League and all this other stuff, it's like a lot worse now. It's a lot worse now. But anyway, after that, we see Beast Boy and the rest of the group start to feel really bad. They all hold their stomachs and they fall to the ground. We see this random goon grab Perdita, and then we see Count Vertigo. When Count Vertigo showed up, that's when I was like, what? Because when Count Vertigo and the random goon grabbed Perdita and put on a helicopter, she said, killing me isn't going to get you rulership back on the country. He goes, oh, you're such a foolish child. When he said that, I was like, oh, I mean, when she said that, I was like, "Oh, this is Perdita, Perdita." Okay, that's really cool. I felt so dumb I didn't realize it was Perdita until this episode when I was watching season three for the first time. I realized it when I watched season 3 and 4 way before I started doing these reviews, but that was so funny when I think about it. I felt so dumb. Anyway, like I said, they get into the helicopter and they fly away. After they fly away, he's a good enough distance away to where they're able to feel good again and they start to chase after the helicopter. We see Impulse chasing after the helicopter, but when he gets too close, Count Vertigo activates his powers. He feels weird again and he falls to the ground. So they can chase after the helicopter and get somewhat close, but not too close, so they're just going to feel nauseous. So what are we going to do? Ed goes, come on, Blue, is it Blue Beetle? Well, I mean, you guys understood that. I don't know why I explained it. But he goes, come on, Blue, can your armor not protect you from the rays or anything? He gets really close. He starts to feel nauseous. No, apparently not. Like, this really sucks. So the only thing they can do is just chase after the helicopter, make sure they can constantly see it, and when the time is right, strike. So that's all they can do. That's basically all they can do right now, which sucks. But I mean, hey, it's better than nothing. At least they can see where she is. But it's also interesting that whenever Count Vertigo uses his powers, you don't see that like translucid beam come out of his head. There's a reason for that. We do get the reason later on in this episode, but you don't see that little translucid ring come out of his head whenever he uses his powers regularly. So we go back over to Happy Harbor. Cyborg's outside just chilling, and Forger goes over there to try to cheer him up. Now in the conversation, Cyborg's not really trying to get his spirits lifted. He keeps yelling at Forager. One specific thing that he gets really mad at Forager for is saying his full name. Because you know how Forager talks. Victor Stone. Come inside, Victor Stone. You know what I'm saying? His whole name. He gets really mad at that. Not because it's annoying. It's because it sounds just like his dad. So Forager says something that's really good. So Forager sees a caterpillar crawling on a tree branch. He goes, maybe Forager can't help Caterpillar Victor, but maybe Forager can help Butterfly Victor. Whatever, you get what I'm saying? Like, that was good. And Victor, he doesn't say anything to this, but he does kind of look like, huh. So eventually Victor tells him, trying to be nice, like, no one likes a frozen bug. Maybe you should just go back inside before you freeze. And he goes, you know what, that's a good idea, Victor. And he starts to walk inside. And then Victor looks at the caterpillar, thinking about what Forager said. He's like, huh. We go back over to Blue Beetle, and he's flying with Tracy in his hands. And it's really funny because the Scarab says, I can take down the helicopter easily by blowing it up. He's like, what? we don't want to blow it up because Perdita's in there. We can't do that. What is wrong with you? Oh, why didn't you say that? That should be implied. Like, my goodness. He goes, geez, well, just say that next time then. Tracy says that, I think I can take down the helicopter without blowing it up. And she shoots a beam she shoots like a bad luck beam and it takes out the gas tank. And so they have to make a pit stop to fix it because you can't really fix it midair. It's also really funny because when she sees Blue Beetle's face get really mad. I mean, he says it out loud too, but when he sees her, when she sees his face get really mad, she looks at him. She goes, the scarab told you to blow it up, huh? Like, so like they've been dating for a while. She kind of already knows the whole scarab deal. Like, she knows how the scarab acts. That's really cute. That's really funny. Also, another thing I noticed is whenever she uses her powers, it's in like a wave. But I was thinking about Jinx from Teen Titans to where it's more like electricity. Not electricity, but I mean, it looks like electricity. But what I mean is, whenever she uses her powers, it's in like one direction in a wave. But whenever she was using her powers in Teen Titans, it can go all over the place. It can make giant balls out of it. Like she can do a lot more in Teen Titans than in here. Can she upgrade herself to move like Teen Titan Jinx? Maybe, probably. We don't get too much of Jinx or Tracy in Young Justice because he's only in this season and I think she is in next season too. I don't know how much she is in the next season, but she is in the next season too. I can't remember too much about her, but I don't know. But it's her powers seem really limited in here than it is in Teen Titans. But obviously these are two different universes, and she's not a bad guy. But anyway, like I said, she takes up the gas tanks, so now it has to make a pit stop and it makes a pit stop inside of some random ruins. When it does that, they can see where it at. So let's go over to the ruins. Let's go get them. So then we go over to Artemis's house during Thanksgiving. They're eating food, having a good time. There's this one funny joke to where Artemis's mom goes, "You know what, Artemis? This is some really good food." "Well, thank you, mom. It does need a little salt though." And then Artemis looks really bad. Then Dr. Chase goes, "Your daughter is really amazing." Artemis' mom goes, "Yeah. What's her real name?" I keep saying Artemis' mom. What's Artemis' mom's real name? You know what? Let me look that up. I can't rely on Richie Expo for everything. I feel so bad whenever she tells me all that stuff. I mean, I am grateful for other stuff that I don't even think about. But whenever I think of a name, I'm like, what's the name? And they tell me, I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. I don't want to overwork them. I'm gonna look up Artemis' mom real name. Okay, so her name is Paula. Her name is Paula. So anyway, after that, Dr. Chase brings up about how he should be really proud of Artemis because all the stuff that she's been doing. And Paula brings up that, oh yeah, she's about to get her master's so she can start teaching. And she goes, oh yeah, that's really good too. But I mean, all the good work she's doing saving kids as Tigress, helping these new young people develop their powers. And Paula, her mom, is really, really mad and storms off. Artemis chases after her, and her mom starts spazzing at her for a few different reasons. Number one, she thought that Artemis was out of the game because, as we know, Wally West, at first, remember after the time skip from season 1 to 2, her and Wally got out of the game. Then they got back into the game and Wally died. And it took Artemis 2 years during the 2 year time skip from season 2 to 3 to not get over it, but to somewhat get back into normalcy because that really broke her. And now she's back into the game. She's mad about that. That's number one. Number two, she tells Artemis that she doesn't need to go into the front lines to to help people anymore, which is true. Artemis did bring that up like what 2 3 episodes ago to Brienne and everybody else to join the team. She even said herself, "You don't need to fight in the front lines to help people. You can just be a teacher or help meta teens, with the counseling everything. You don't have to fight on the line." Number three, she also brings up that how much more do you have to go through for you to realize this isn't what you need to do? And she brings up herself and she also brings up Barbara that you could end up like this because she is like a normal human doing this stuff, which is true. I mean, she could end up like her or Barbara in a wheelchair, or maybe even worse. And also, she brings up lastly the main point that she was arguing with Artemis about was that Leon needs a mother. And she goes, "What? Me me and Willa," she goes, "Come on. I see the way y'all look at each other, and you know, and I know, even Red Arrow knows, or Will knows, that Chesser isn't coming back. Leon needs a mother figure." So okay, to talk about those points really quickly, I understand her concern. Obviously, he's like, she's been through a lot during his hero work job. She is like a normal human doing this, so she can get really hurt and end up like her or Barbara or even worse. I do understand that, so I can kind of understand that concern. You can't really rebuttal that. Besides from the only rebuttal with that is she's doing good work, even though yeah, it is dangerous for her and kind of overly. I mean, not overly, but she said she didn't say she stopped doing her classes to become a teacher. So I guess she's just doing online classes, and they're going decently well, I guess, while doing hero work. So I guess you don't really need to stop it because she's still doing it pretty well. But anyway, I mean, yeah, that is a really good point. You can't get really hurt, but she is doing really good work though. She's doing some really good work doing this stuff, helping kids out. The only other point I was gonna say is that the whole Chester, I mean, not Chester, Leon is a mother figure. Like I said before in the beginning of the episode, I feel a little iffy because of Wally and everything. But I mean, she can give a red arrow technically because, Wally, he died. But yeah, I feel iffy about that. But aside from that, you don't need to date Red Arrow for Leon to have a mother figure. She's been helping take care of Leon for the past, because Leon's what, two, almost three now. She's been taking it because Chester left kind of early in Leon's life to do the villain thing again, and she's been doing superhero work, online classes, and taking care of Leon. So what she's doing now, her system is pretty well. So she doesn't really need to change anything, and she doesn't need to start dating Red Arrow to be Leon's mother figure. I'm pretty sure Leon sees her as a mother figure. Yeah, well, Captain, she calls her Auntie Mouse. I mean, yeah, but I know deep down she sees her as like a mom since she's like the main lady in her life that takes care of her. Where Red Arrow, she lives with her. Like what? Like you don't have to date him to be the mother figure for that. But anyway, but she has some decent points with that. Anyway, after that, we go back over to Team Beast Boy. They're in the ruins and they're walking around. Well, not walking, but they're running around looking for Perdita, but they can't find her. Impulse comes back to the group because he ran away. He goes, I searched this place up and down, and I still can't find them. And I swear, every building I pass looks like the exact same building. So Blue Beetle goes, okay, let me just get a bird's eye view or a beetle eye view. So he throws out his wings and he's about to fly sky high. But when he does that, the scarab says, Jaime Reyes, what are you doing? He goes, what do you mean? Why are you hovering on? Well, at first Jaime sees the building start to grow, but obviously the building's not really growing. Then he also tells Jaime that you're floating 2 feet off the ground. Jaime looks down. He goes, "What do you mean? I'm floating like 100 feet in the sky." Not based off my scanners. That means there's something going on with our vision. There must be illusions going on to where Impulse was running around the same building constantly, and that's why the building seemed to grow, and that's why Jaime thought he was 100 feet up, but he was really only 2 feet down. There's illusions and stuff going on with their minds. But that doesn't really make any sense. Even Static brings that up because Vertigo doesn't have illusion based powers. They don't really have a lot of time to break down the finer details on exactly how he's doing this. We need to find Perdita. So Beast Boy goes, okay, we can't really follow our eyes. Let's follow my nose. So he turns into a bear. Everybody closes their eyes and they follow Beast Boy's roar. So that's what they do. So they walk around the ruins for a little bit until eventually they run into that random goon that was working with Count Vertigo. And when they run into him, they start to fight him. But he seems a lot stronger than a normal goon. I mean, he was able to tank Static Shock's lightning. Impulse runs up to him, does a few quick jabs, super speed style, and just instantly tanks it. He even like starts to toss around Beast Boy in bear form. And they're like, what the heck? Like this is just some random looking goon. And I'm oh yeah, actually, this is the same guy from the Perdita episode in the hospital when he was posing to be. I just realized that he's the same guy, but well, same guy we're about to find out. But like yeah, like this random human goon is able to take them on. What is happening? Like this is really confusing. How is he doing this? And we go over to Perdita and we see Count Vertigo get distracted because he hears all the noise on the comms and he says, "Be careful, my love." Perdita sees that he's distracted because he's not like making her mind like you got to be kidding me. Sorry, I clicked off the episode by accident. But he's like making not making her mind really weird. So he takes the opportunity to run up to Count Vertigo, kicks him with a sun don't sign, and when he does that, I mean when she does that, losing comes off for Count Vertigo, and it turns out Count Vertigo was Simon. She gets freaked out what Simon looks like and punches him in the face, and his nose starts to bleed. And then the losing comes off of the goon, and it was actually Devastation. So they're actually dating. Back in season two, Devastation was all over Simon. Simon didn't really like her, but since he said, "Be careful, my love," yeah, it seems like yeah they're actually dating now, both of them. So when they run inside of the room where Perdita is and makes sure Perdita's okay, and then Static sees Devastation kissing Simon, he goes, "What the? You gotta be kidding me! I need a girlfriend." Even Devastation got somebody. He doesn't have anybody. I would have been spazzing for. You gotta be kidding me. Anyway, that was funny. So anyway, after that happens, Devastation grabs Simon and jumps through the roof. Now they were gonna chase Devastation and Simon, but then they both, I mean, but then the whole team just stops moving, and they're like, "Wait a second, why were they after Perdita? Because Devastation and Simon are part of Onslaught, and they're Queen Bean, Queen Beans Beans. I said it again, Queen Bees, Queen Bees goons. They're not Count Vertigo's goons, and Queen Bee doesn't really want Latveria, not Latveria, but doesn't really want Perdita. So why were they doing that? I mean, you guys can still talk and go after them because they're still bad guys. But I mean, hey, I guess it's whatever. But they're starting to run. They're starting to think about what's going on. But then they put two and two together. The whole kidnap Perdita thing was a distraction. They were really going after the meta teams at the Harvest Festival because some of those kids were part of the Bialia like trafficking thing. And we go back over to the Harvest Festival and we see, yeah, Onslaught is there with Holocaust and they're kidnapping a bunch of the kids because they let out like this sleeping gas and they're putting the kids into these containers and they're really happy that a lot of these kids have the collars onto them. But right before they're able to put them inside the container, Impulse and Ed come over and kidnap. Well, not kidnap, but they snatch the kids out of their hands. I love the line they said too. They go, "Hey, if you want to put some meta people inside of a cage, how about we start with yourselves?" Now, part of me is like, "Whoa!" It seemed like a good far distance in the ruins from the Harvest Festival. So how did they get here so quickly? It makes sense for Impulse. It's Impulse, he's really quick, so it does make sense for him to get here so quickly. Ed, he can only go as far as he can see with his eyes. I mean, he could have upgraded his powers to where he can go from places he's been. They haven't really confirmed that, but they could have upgraded his powers to where that's from. Or he could have just looked at Impulse. He sees him go super far in the distance, teleports, and just keep doing that over and over. He could have done that, but eventually the rest of the team comes in and helps them out. A few really cool sequences that happen. See, it's a really cool scene. Like, hey, you want to put some meta teams in a container? How about you start with yourselves? Oh yeah, and there's also one really cool, not cool, but interesting detail. When they see Holocaust helping out Onslaught, Impulse is really confused on why he's doing this because he's supposed to be under control of the mind chip. I mean, well, before we find out what he says, I mean, he has the mind chip on him. He's controlled, but he says he doesn't have a chip on him. He's doing this of his own free will because Onslaught pays him the big bucks, which is kind of jacked up. I mean, not every meta team is going to be a good guy, I guess. I guess that's going to happen, in real life. But still, that's kind of crazy. But anyway, after that, they start to fight the Onslaught. One specific thing that happens is Icicle Jr. freezes Onslaught by accident by crossfire. Icicle Jr. gets knocked out and he looks normal. I think this is the first time we ever seen him look normal. I thought he was just always permanently in ice form, but no, he gets hit so hard to where he looks like a normal person with like regular skin. That's number one. Number two, the Terror Twins are here, and the girl she gets a boom. She has a father box. It was really funny because when she pulled out the father box and makes a boom tube, Ed gets caught in it, and also Impulse does. Now Ed just teleports out of the father box boom tube, but Impulse he runs in a circle around it and then jumps out of it. That was pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that. I kind of like that. Another thing that was kind of funny is that after she makes the boom tube, the Scarab says, "Hey, I can make a precision attack to take out the father box." Blue Beetle says, "No, you can't do that because the father boxes are like mother boxes to where they're living beings like you, or living technology like you, so we don't kill." He goes, "Oh, there's no pleasing you." Oh, the Scarab is funny. He's like, "Precision attack, no precision attack. Kill, don't kill. Like, what do you want from me?" But here's the really cool scene where he ran out of it. I'm like, what? Can you run inside of like a dimensional warp thing? I mean, I guess if you run fast enough, you can. Yeah, that was dope. That was pretty cool. I did like that. Anyway, she makes another boom tube. Static Shock grabs the follow box out of her hand and throws it inside the boom tube. Ed teleports and puts a collar on the brother Terror. I forget the Terror Twin's name, but he puts a collar on the brother Terror Twin. Beast Boy rams into him as a rhino and throws him into a container. It was also funny because after Ed puts the collar on him, he goes, "Ah, I knew these collars were good for something." That was that was funny. And eventually he's able to beat the sister too by putting a collar on her, and everybody's done for. But then everything that happened here today was just so big, there's no way the press is going to be here, so we should probably sneak away. Static goes, I mean, yeah, so we sneak away? I mean, we are supposed to be a covert team. We go back over to Artemis's house, everybody's chilling, having fun, and they keep feeding the dog food, and Artemis says that's the last bribe you get. That freaks out Halo when she runs outside and she starts to break down crying. And Dr. Chase follows her. She's the only one that does. And Dr. Chase tells her, "Hey, you can tell me anything. What's the matter?" And she tells her that I have a lot more new memories from Gabrielle, and I finally figured out that she was the one that took a bribe. She didn't know what was going on, but she took a bribe. It let that one meta-human in that killed Brion and Tara's parents, and they can never know, as he feels so horrible about it. Obviously, Dr. Chase says, well, that was Gabrielle. That wasn't you. And if Brion finds out, I'm pretty sure that he will understand. But she goes, no, see, they can never find out, which is, I mean, that's a tricky situation. I mean, yes, technically that was a different person. I don't think she meant for them to kill the king and queen. She was just trying to take a bribe for money because she needed money. But still, that's pretty jacked up. And since the mother box is taking over the body now, the mother box Halo is what we know, not Gabrielle. But it was still kind of her body. It's a tricky situation. You know, if that happened in real life, you know that's not what she did. Halo didn't do what Gabrielle did it, but still you're gonna feel some type of way. So I'm gonna need some space. I'm gonna definitely need some space to just breathe and figure this all out. But after that happens, he tells her that everything's gonna be okay. She's not gonna tell anybody. It's gonna be our little secret. Go inside and act normal. Halo says, "Well, I never been really good at normal. Well, then that's good. Then nobody would know the difference." She walks inside. Dr. Chase calls somebody on the phone. We don't get to hear who's on the other line, but it sounds suspicious. Then we go over to um McGann's house, and Thanksgiving there is McGann, Superboy, their friend, and looks like, yeah, pregnant Bumblebee. Yeah, that's funny because my sister's got a baby. It's pregnant Bumblebee and her husband. Her husband looks a little different. Wait, no, 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 no. Bumblebee. Who is she dating? She's dating. Da, 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 da. Wait, no, isn't Rocket the one pregnant? No, Bumblebee. No, no, no. Bumblebee's dating Duncan, that black guy from high school we met in season one. And Rock is the one that's married to like a random, not like a random, like he doesn't matter, but he like we don't know him, but she's married to that. But Bumblebee's pregnant to Duncan. Yeah, this doesn't look like Duncan though. Does this look like Duncan? Like the black guy that we know from season one and two. This does not look like him. I don't know. This is that's why I was confused for them. Like, what is this? That does not look like Duncan. But yeah, that's him. But anyway, Cyborg comes inside. They eat food, everybody. Him and Forget look at each other and smile. And the last thing in the episode is Beast Boy is Beast Boy, Impulse, and Blue Beetle making a public announcement on live TV with all the paparazzi taking pictures of them, saying that they want to show meta teens that they can do good with their powers, and we can show the world that they can do good with their powers. Just publicly showing themselves. It's not like a specific moment like, I don't know, but I felt like Robin, Kid Flash, and Uncle Lad, like this was a trio showing themselves out there. They never really had a moment like this, beside from that one episode when the kids and adults got switched in different dimensions. But it kind of feels like that. Now, Ed, Jinx, and Static are off to the side thinking, we're supposed to be a covert team. I don't know where we're allowed to do this. This is kind of like breaking the rules, which is true. But I mean, they just kind of stay on the side and just see what happens. We're just gonna see. Just gonna see what happens. It's also really funny that this one black girl that was with the meta teens that were trafficked looks at this happening, and she stands next to Static, and she goes, those meta boys, they look kind of cool, no? He goes, really? You think they're cool? Yeah, I think they're cool. I think they're kind of hot. Oh, well, I'm a friend of theirs. She goes, yeah, right, and walks away. And Jinx goes, oh, you need a girlfriend. This part had me so mad my first time I watched it. I'm like, yo, Static, because she doesn't believe you. I don't know why, but she doesn't believe you. I'm like, just spark up. When she goes, yeah, right, just go, like, just spark up. Just do something. I don't know why they didn't spark. I don't know why he didn't spark up. I was so mad he didn't do that. By the way, after that happens, we see what's her name? Windfall. We see Windfall go over to I forgot the name for a second. We see Windfall go over to Perdita, and she goes, your boy over there, he's something, isn't he? I mean, something, isn't he? She goes, yeah, I noted. And then that's the last thing in the episode, just seeing Impulse. Oh, well, I guess Kid Flash technically now, but Impulse, Blue Beetle, and Beast Boy on TV talking about this, and then that's the last shot. And at the very end of the episode is the after credit scene, and it's just the RV and Wolf sleeping. So that's about it. So like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Thank you all for watching. I think y'all let human beings, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye. Let me just show this one last shot for the end of the episode. It's a really nice shot, though. I don't know what the thumbnail's going to be, but this is a really nice shot. Okay, bye.